So I've just seen this news article on Twitter from the Times saying that an independent pay body has said teachers should get a 6.5% pay rise, which is obviously an improvement on the 4.5% that the government offered recently. And while this is an improved offer, I just can't help but think what I keep coming back to with these strikes and pay disputes, in that if it is not going to be fully funded, it isn't going to work. Because schools are already struggling to make ends meet. Budgets are decimated already. So if you're going to increase teachers' pay and not fully fund it, what that's going to mean is teachers are going to be expected to do more with less, which just is not going to work when our education system is hanging on by a thread. Now, I know pay is such an important issue, and I feel teachers and school staff, all support staff, deserve a pay rise in line with inflation, in my opinion. But let's imagine a world where the government turn around and say, actually, yeah, we'll match inflationary, we'll match the pay, we'll double that, we'll double it. Do I think that's then going to solve the recruitment and retention crisis that's facing education if it's not going to be funded? If that pay rise is going to be funded? It's not. It's just going to make things worse. And that's before we even open up the can of worms around workload. Now, when the strikes were first announced, I asked you lot what was the main reason you were striking, and workload was at the top. Yeah, those first strikes happened, February, March? What's happened since? What's changed? Nothing. And if this goes through and isn't adequately funded by the government, what do you think is going to happen to your workload where you're expected to do more with less? Yeah, it's going to get worse, which will then have a knock-on effect to the recruitment and retention. And we're already seeing it's shocking. So I was working down south in a SCIT, school-based initial teacher training program. They usually get between 60, 70 primary trainees a year. Guess how many they've got this year? 12. Guess how many they've got signed up for next academic year? Only a few months away in September. 0. So this dispute isn't very small about sort of pay. It's about saving the future of education. Because if something like this goes through and it's not adequately funded, who's going to be losing out the most? The children, because they'll be expected to be taught in much bigger class sizes, not being given a vast, broad and balanced curriculum because there won't be the teachers to actually teach these subjects. And I can only imagine what SEND provision will be like if things like this aren't adequately funded by the government.